All right, let's move on to the next bout, which is a welterweight matchup between the Leech, Jingliang, and Khamzat Chimaev. And Khamzat Chimaev is a fucking murderer. I mean, if you guys have seen any of his 3 UFC fights so far, right? First one, he goes out and mauls John Phillips, right? Like, just takes him down. And when he takes guys down, I mean, the guy is a Swedish, like, national champion freestyle wrestler, right? So when guys get in there against him, they typically, and it's almost a Habib type of effect, right? They haven't fucking felt anything like that yet. And he's relentless in terms of writing down ground and pound. So it's not just like he's wrestling you for the purpose of controlling you. He's hunting for submissions. He's got a really slick dart choke that he hits a lot of the time. And he's hitting you with ground and pound. And he's doing it in such a way that he's exposed. He's not lazy on the ground. And I shouldn't say lazy. He's very active about advancing his guard and his position, right? And he does so. You guys have to realize too that, like, when you're watching fights, when you are punching someone, this is why, like, you hear guys like Bisping and everybody, when they get people on the ground, you have got to start writing down blows, because punches and strikes from the ground, if you're on top, are a method of guard passing. You get people to make all kinds of fucking mistakes when you start hitting them with ground and pound. They start opening their legs up. They start turning away from you. They start showing their back sometimes. I mean, you can force a lot of errors by using your strikes on the ground, right? And Chimaev is an expert at doing that. The problem is that he's going up against a guy in the Leech who is very fucking dangerous. The most dangerous guy that Khamzat's gone against so far, no doubt. I mean, the Leech can turn your lights off like that. And if you guys think that Khamzat Chimaev is immune to that, I would say that you're probably wrong. I would say that the Leech has the type of game-changing power where if he does connect and he does land clean, he can fucking rock anybody in that division. I really believe that. He has serious power in his hands. And if you guys watch the fight against Santiago Ponzinibbio, always throwing feints and making it dangerous for guys to enter in, right? And you could tell that Santiago Ponzinibbio, that hand movement and everything and all the feints that he was showing was making him very hesitant. And when he finally did decide to commit to something, he left openings and made a mistake, and the Leech capitalized on it. The problem in this fight for the Leech, it's not that he's not dangerous. It's that I don't think Khamzat is going to respect that shit the same way that Santiago Ponzinibbio did. And I think that he's going to be it's so much more threatening when guys can wrestle, right? Because when you're fighting a guy like Santiago Ponzinibbio, primarily, you know it's going to be probably a kickboxing match. You're a little bit more free to do that stuff with your hands and keep your hands high. But when you're fighting a guy like Chimaev, it forces your hands to drop just a little bit because you have to prepare for the takedown. And I just don't think that all that fucking hand shit that the Leech was doing is going to work. And I don't think that the Leech is on the level that he needs to be wrestling-wise and grappling-wise to hang around with Chimaev. I think this is one of those fights where you're going to get to see, like, the Leech is very good, right? But I think this is one of these fights where you're going to get to see, oh, this is really why this guy is a title hopeful. I mean, like I said, you get guys all the time who come into the UFC who have these wrestling credentials or these grappling credentials, right? But not all of them know how to apply it and put it all together and make it work in MMA. Khamzat Chimaev does. He knows how to do that. I think he goes in. I think that the Leech does have dangerous hands. So I think you'll see Khamzat trade with him, but I think ultimately the goal for Chimaev is going to be to get this fight to the ground. You don't want to sit there and bang with a guy who does have legitimate knockout power. You want to take the path of least resistance. And I think that when they get into the wrestling and grappling exchanges, it's going to be very one-sided. For that reason, I'm taking Chimaev. I think he's going to get him out of there in the second or third round. And, I just think that, like I said, he's not going to respect the power of Jingliang. And I don't think there will be a lot of opportunities for Li Jingliang to land because Chimaev's going to come out and pressure him so hard right away that he won't really have time to set anything up and find a range or a rhythm, right? I think Chimaev crowds off all the space, hits him with some shots, gets in on a takedown entry almost right away, and then just starts going to work from there. And I think it'll be very hard for the Leech to get back to his feet once he's taken to the ground. So for all of those reasons, primarily the wrestling, I've got Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's going to go in there and he's going to put on a dominant showing. And like I said, just kind of show why people are so fucking excited about this guy. All right, next fight.